Hello, friends. It's me, Blanche, and welcome back to Feast in the Middle East. A lot of you have reached out to me asking how you could help those that are suffering in Gaza, and today will be a great episode to guide you in the right direction. I have an interview with Sean Carroll. He's from an organization called Anera, which is committed to feeding the people of Gaza. And I'm so glad that Sean took some time to tell us more about this wonderful organization. So with that, let's go on to the interview. Welcome to the show, Sean. So happy to have you here. Can you tell us about the organization called Anera?
Absolutely. Anera, or American Near East Refugee Aid, was started after the '67 war in Israel-Palestine, and to meet the crisis of the displaced and the refugees. So that's 55 years ago. We're a U.S. Organization set up legally in the United States with a small support office here, but most of our work is in the Palestinian territories, West Bank, Gaza, and Lebanon and Jordan. But we were formed by Arab Americans and non-Arab Americans, and our staff and our governance, our board, our donors are all a nice mixture of people from the region, and people know the region, and some people who don't know the region but support our work.
Now, you've recently, through Anera, have distributed 6 million meals to the people of Gaza. And in light of almost 2 million people being displaced, what are some of the biggest challenges that you're facing as an organization?
Well, the biggest challenge right now for us and all of the humanitarian aid workers and providers is that the bombing hasn't stopped. There is no ceasefire, and it's extremely difficult to provide services for our staff in Gaza. All of our staff in Gaza are Palestinians from Gaza, working in the neighborhoods they grew up in and live in. Although now they are mostly all displaced as well, and so they're working outside their normal neighborhoods. But Anera works across the Gaza Strip from Beit Lahia and Beit Hanun in the north, through Gaza City, Deir al-Balah in the middle area, and Khan Yunis and Rafah, all up and down the Gaza Strip. Anera works on a consistent basis and has for 55 years. We've had a permanent office there with staff for 40 years. So this is the work they do all the time. But the conditions they're having to do it under now are appalling. They're dangerous. They're life-threatening. Our staff, Anera's staff of 12, are alive, but 3 of them have lost more than 30 family members. And 3 of our staff have had near misses as they're out delivering meals and delivering humanitarian aid. Bombs have gone off near them. So we haven't had any of our staff or any of our offices or distribution centers targeted, but there have been near misses.
Wow. So what kind of food are you providing? What kind of meals? Are there proteins, any fresh produce? Is there any formula for the infants?
No, the meals we've been providing are nutritious, and it's been a combination of meal parcels that provide food that families can eat, ready to eat. In the early days, we were providing some that needed to be cooked, but now we can't do that because of a lack of fuel, a lack of cooking equipment. So everything has to be either a hot meal. We've been providing hot meals, and this is all with the support of our great partner, World Central Kitchen, whose founder, Jose Andres. And I'm sure many of your viewers know Jose Andres and his fabulous restaurants mostly in Washington, but also in Los Angeles and in Dubai, where I just was. He created World Central Kitchen, and his motto is longer tables, not higher walls. And it's just the recognition that when people are in emergencies, whether they're natural disasters or man-created and human-created or wars, everyone needs to eat, obviously, but more than that, they need the hug of a warm meal, he says. So we try to do as many warm meals as we can, initially purchasing food locally and then working with farmers that Anera works with in our longer-term sustainable development programming with livestock farmers, with produce, fruit and vegetable farmers, with fish farmers. So we've been providing a lot of hot meals and prepared meals, but also food parcels and fresh produce baskets.
That is fantastic and so neat, especially with winter here, to have a hot meal. I understand people are making clay ovens. They are turning olive tins into ovens to make bread. And now flour is like $130 for a bag of flour. So in light of this, how many trucks are allowed of these meals into Gaza? And if you could compare that to pre-October 7th.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, we've delivered more than 6.5 million meals now, and more than 5 million, closer to 6 million of those were actually all with food procured locally. So food that was already in Gaza before the war began and before the siege. That's mostly depleted. So now we do have to rely on the aid coming in. Before October 7th, the average was 400 or 500 trucks a day coming in of normal commercial goods and aid. And for the first 2 weeks after the war started, there were no trucks, nothing came in. Then it started to pick up. I think there was one day of 200 trucks, and most days have not been over 100 trucks. And there are a lot of days still where it's 30 or 40 or 50 trucks. So we're not even at 10% of what the norm would be. And so there's real suffering. I'm not sure that, unless you're following this closely, it's hard for people to understand that people are literally starving. And there will be most of the killings have come from the bombing, but people will die from starvation, from dehydration, and from disease as it spreads in camps of displaced people, shelters of displaced people that are overcrowded. And we're working along with others to try to help keep those clean and prevent the spread of disease, but we won't be as successful in preventing it everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of experts are saying the next phase of mass death is going to come from disease like cholera, waterborne illnesses, already meningitis, jaundice is rampant. So I understand that Anera also supplies hygiene kits, especially to the UN shelters and the schools. How do you provide that for so many people? What are in these hygiene kits?
Yeah, so initially we had some hygiene kits in our distribution center as part of our gift in kind program, which is mostly medicines and medical supplies, but includes hygiene kits. And we distributed those a day after the bombing started. Then we procured some locally. It includes soap and shampoo and toilet paper and paper towel. We've also been distributing menstrual hygiene management kits. None of this is available. People left their homes with nothing, and most Palestinians in Gaza have now, most are displaced, more than 80%. Figures are as high as 1.9 million of the 2.3 million. Many have left 2 or 3 times, and I just talked with a woman who said that she talked with a friend who moved 10 times.
A lot of the people had to flee with nothing, like you said, and a lot of them were even wearing summer clothing because it was warm then. And now they're stuck in summer clothing only, and it is wintertime. And can you tell us about the clothing procurement that's going on with Anera too?
So we have been able to get some winter clothing in, as well as blankets and mattresses, but we've also provided cash vouchers for residents to buy clothes. There are still some stores that are open and operating and accessible and have stock that won't last forever unless they can be restocked. So there's a question also of how do businesses get restocked, and we hope we'll see some of that soon. But we have been able to provide some cash vouchers for residents to go in and buy some clothing, and that's good because it keeps some infusion of money into the local economy as well.
Yes, absolutely. And as for psychosocial support, is there some of that too, especially for these poor children that are having major PTSD?
And so what we're doing now, we're working with local partners who specialize in psychosocial support. We're doing activity days in the shelters, which are schools. They're UN schools serving as shelters. They're full of thousands of people, and the population is half children. So each of these shelters is at least half children. And we're doing games and sports and fun and activities, just something to take their mind off of and their eyes off of the sky, and fearing for their death. So we're doing those every day, and a lot of partners are doing that. A lot of international NGOs and local NGOs, and there will be a massive and ongoing need. That trauma will remain for a long time to come.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Can you tell me how a recent show featuring Rami Youssef, comedian, caused much more awareness for Anera and the special guests that arrived?
He's doing a tour, a series of shows in the U.S. and in Europe, and he had let Anera know that he was going to give 100% of the proceeds of his shows to Anera. So that we knew, but we didn't know that Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez and a few of their A-list friends would show up to his show. I think it was last Friday in Brooklyn. So that's been in the news and on social media, and any attention to the need for humanitarian response in Gaza now, and really for the need to support Palestinian aspirations to live a normal life and continue to have good education and jobs and livelihoods is critical. So it wasn't our event. We're extremely grateful to Rami Youssef for contributing 100% of the proceeds from his shows to Anera. And we have seen a lot of support. There's been a huge surge, big uptick in support for Anera and for our work. Thousands of new donors since October 7th, and a recognition of just how critical the needs are, and we're grateful for all of that support.
I have a wonderful community here at Feast in the Middle East. They are loving, giving people, and just to give them assurance that Anera is a fantastic organization, tell me about the ratings as a charity and the transparency that Anera has, so that people can be confident that their money will indeed go to civilian services, food and shelter, and so forth.
Yeah, thanks. This is a great question, one we get all the time. It's very important for us and for everyone who supports us to know that their money is going to go safely and securely to where the need is and not be diverted. We have answers to these questions on our website, frequently asked questions. We also have if you scroll down to the bottom of it, there's a tab, Trusted and Respected, that shows the charity ratings we get from Charity Watch, Charity Navigator, Better Business Bureau, GuideStar. We get the highest ratings on all of those for our work and our transparency and our reporting. We have a no contact policy with Hamas, and for the most part in Gaza and in the West Bank and in Lebanon, we work directly with communities.
Fantastic. So what's the easiest way for somebody to contribute to Anera?
Well, the easiest way is to go onto our website, and you'll see, and it's anera.org. You'll see the work we're doing in Gaza right now. There's a daily log, an emergency response log that is updated daily. It shows you what the needs are on the left-hand column, and on the right-hand column, it shows you exactly what we've done since October 7th and over the past few days. And that shows you what we're working on, and that's the easiest way.
Well, thank you so much, Sean. I wish you and your staff continued protection, safety, and a huge influx of resources so that you can continue your exceptional and important work in Gaza. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you, Blanche. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.